Hey everyone, this is Dragon Dark. As promised, this is going to be my first book haul and first book blog video. Check out my weekly update. There's going to be a link down in my description that will explain why there's been such a delay on my videos after my last update and promises. Hopefully I will be back on track. I should probably post this video as soon as possible after I make it. So we will see. So book haul. So I have a pretty big book haul. I have 2 orders from online that I made, and I have a bunch of books that I bought in person at both Target and Walmart. So we're going to start with the smallest of the hauls, purchases, and this is from Books A Million, or BAM. It's backwards on your screen, but it's Books A Million. So we're going to take this out. Pop the box on the floor. So this is Affliction by Laurell K. Hamilton. So I'm actually behind on Laurell K. Hamilton. I just finished reading Kiss the Dead like a couple of months ago. And that's after like a 1.5 year delay on finishing it, just because I put it down and forgotten about it and procrastinated about it. But if you don't know about this book, this is I think we're in the 20s in the Anita Blake Vampire Hunter series by Laurell K. Hamilton. This is Affliction. She's already released the next book in the series, which is Jason, the second official paperback version release. The first one was Micah many books ago. But I need to get Affliction, and my biggest issue was I refused to get a paperback of Affliction. I've had the last 10 books in hardcover, and I need to keep up with the hardcovers. It just doesn't make sense to have, the first couple of, so many books paperback and then hardcovers and then paperbacks again. I can figure out the paperbacks and then the hardcovers on my shelving, but I can't figure out paperback, hardcover, paperback. It just doesn't make sense, especially if I go back to a hardcover. So I went looking for hardcovers, and unfortunately, every place I could find this at a decent price couldn't guarantee the condition or couldn't guarantee that it would bring the jacket cover, which is my biggest issue. I need to have the jacket covers for hardcovers. I also didn't want to pay full retail value. Full retail value of Anita Blake is $28.95. In my state, that means I probably pay close to $30 for this book. So again, that was really hard, and I didn't want to miss out on this hardcover version. Randomly decided to check Books A Million. This is a big thing because I don't shop at Books A Million, mostly because I can't get to the closest local store. It's over the state line, and there is no public transportation to it, and I completely rely on public transportation to get anywhere. And it's over 5 miles to get to it, so I'm not walking it either. So, decided to check the store. I've heard good things about prices, about books from Books A Million, so I went ahead and, oh my god, was it discounted. It was at $8.97. A $30 book at $8.97. I paid a total of $10 for shipping and paying tax and shipping to get it to my house. So that was $20 less than I had to pay if I bought this in person at full price. So Books A Million gets a big plus on a review for that for me. They also get a really good review on how fast their shipment. I paid the cheapest shipment to get this here, and I ordered this a week after I ordered my Books Outlet order, which I have here, which is the next thing I'm going to do. And let me tell you, this came in first, which is really shocking, but great review. I'm really looking forward to this. I already know I'm going to love this book. I've loved the other 20 or so in this series. Kiss the Dead was the last one, which was a pretty short read. It was enough to fill us on what was happening with the main character's life. This one's actually really thick right here, so this one's going to be really good. Alright, so I'm going to put that down. So the next set of books are from Book Outlet. So I'm going to put that back. I already have a stack of them waiting here for me to review. So Let's start off with a series I've known about for a very long time. I've actually used to see it every time I worked at Barnes & Noble's. And I considered buying it, but never did. And I finally just caved. And this is by Alison Krogan, which is The Naming, which is the first in a series in a trilogy. So I'm actually really looking forward to this. So let me just read the first couple of lines of the synopsis here in the back. So, Merida is a slave in a desperate and unforgiving settlement taken there as a child after her family is destroyed in a war. She is unaware that she possesses a powerful gift, one that makes her as a member of the School of Polidar. It is only when she discovers by Canvan, one of the great bards of Lyragon, that her true heritage and extraordinary destiny unfolds. Now she and her teacher must survive a journey through a time and place where the dark forces they battle stem from the deepest recesses of otherworldly terror. So I probably mispronounced a few names there. I do apologize. I have a terrible issues when I first pronounce things. Usually after I've said it so many times that I finally get it right. But again, I caved, finally bought this. It's a trilogy. It's a fantasy. Sounds like something I would like. It's not usually the genre I would automatically jump to. I usually cater more to vampires, werewolves, shapeshifters, and witches, specifically if they mention witches, but I do occasionally branch off into things that just mention magic or powers. So I'm actually looking really forward to reading this. Well, I'm actually looking forward to reading all of these, but I caved, I have to read, and let's see if I like it enough to get the next book in the series. So while browsing Books A Million, I popped and saw this by Jenny Lee Simmer, which is Bones of Fury. So I do like fairy books. I don't always like the series. I don't find them as drawing as some of the other series that I've read. Mostly because I think the authors don't pull me in well enough. But I always like to give them a chance. Some of them have enough good of a plot, of a worldview for me to keep reading the series. So, Bones of Fury, and let me just read you the synopsis in the back, because this is what really pulled me in. So, magic was never meant for the world, Father says, and of course I'd agree. Though the war had ended and the fairy folk returned to their own place before I was born, we knew the rules. Don't touch any stone that glows with fairy light. Don't venture out alone into the dark. And cast out the magic born among you before it can turn into its parents. Towns have died for not understanding that much, but the memory of my sister's bones, cracked and bloodied in the moonlight, haunts me still. So that's what really got me to check out this book. So this is it's a series. I actually do not think this is a trilogy. I think it's just longer. But that and the fact draws me in. So there's a slightly darker aspect to this, and that's what's really pulling me in. I don't always like fairies to be light and shining and magical and all pretty, because they're not. If you look up the actual what a fairy is, there's more than one kind. It's more complicated than that. Go check out your history. Sorry. So I'm actually, again, this looks like a really good read. It's actually going to be a very fast read. I just need to sit down and do it. So, next off. So this is from an author I actually already like to read. Mostly her adult fantasy fiction is what I've read. Daughter of the Forest, specifically. She has written... I did read her first young adult books, which name I can't recall, but this is the second young adult book that she made. This is Juliet Miller's Sibyl's Secret. So I already love Juliet Miller, so this was already a guaranteed book for me to read. So the synopsis in the back is quite simple, which I really like, but it really draws you in. It says, an ancient artifact, a perilous quest, a trail of magical signs, a startling love triangle. One young woman must venture into the forbidden corners of the mysterious city and the realm of the enchanted other city. But can she endure inconceivable tests of bravery, wisdom, and true love? What I really like about Juliet Miller's style is her writing. She really pulls you in to the character story. The main character is all you think about. That is all this book is about. Sure, there's other mentions, other characters, but it's literally about that. Even in her adult fiction, the love, the love that comes about by the end of the book is you're so rooting for this to happen, since like the first like hint of it possibly happening, and you just want this character to finally have some peace and happiness. So I'm really looking forward to this young adult book. So again, this is another Juliet Miller. So this is her first young adult series. So I believe this might be a trilogy. She's known for doing trilogies. This is Shadowfell. I'm not going to read the synopsis. I already know I'm going to like this one. If you haven't read Juliet Miller, please go check her out. If you want something to start reading for Juliet Miller, go check out her Daughter of the Forest series. It's originally a trilogy, and later on she wrote 2 additional books for it. But if you really want my recommendation, just read the first book. Read The Daughter of the Forest, which is the first book in the series. It's not a young adult, it's adult fiction, but it's a great read. It is wonderful. I read this in high school, and I fell in love, and every year I went back to the bookstore and bought the next book in the series. So I really do recommend it, and if you like how she writes adult fiction, then pick up her young adult fiction. I can't really recommend Sybil Secret, and I have to reread the other YA because I don't recall it as well. It's been a very, very long time since I read that one. So I'm giving you my recommendation. If you like her adult fiction, go read her young adult fiction because she's an amazing writer. So next book is actually from another author I like. This is a local author in the state of Massachusetts. Her name is Amelia Atwater Rhodes, and this is Pretense of Memory. So this actually has a funny story to it. When this first came out, the original hardcover release was only released in the re-released cover designs. What I mean was the original four books, I believe, in the that she originally published were being re-released with new cover designs, new graphic designs, and I did not like the new graphic designs, and that's the one they released for Pretense of Memory, and I hated it because I assumed this was one of the covers that was going to be released. This is the one I wanted, and every time I went looking for this, they didn't have it. They'd sold out, even this paperback version, or soft cover as I'm going to call it. And the only other version of this available was library bindings if I went on half.com, and I'd have to deal with all the awful stuff that comes when you buy a library book. It's all these I didn't want to deal with. I want a nice, clean, mint condition copy. So when I spotted this on Book Outlet, I had to get it. I love this colored cover version, and I'm a huge fan of Amelia. I've been reading her since I was 14. Amelia published her first book when she was 15, which was In the Forest of the Night, and she's a resident of Massachusetts, so I live in Massachusetts, so I also have to support her for that. But I really like how she writes. Each book is a standalone book with its own standalone story, but it is expanding her universe. You're getting more information about what the characters, what the world is, where her characters reside. And it's actually the modern day Earth, but with her twist. But she's a great author. I do recommend it. They're really fast reads, but you really do fall in love with the characters. Everyone has a favorite. My favorite is Demon in My View is my main one. I really like the main characters in that one, and then Shattered Mirror is my second favorite. But Pretense of Memory, I already know I'm going to love it. I already love all her books, so I'm happy I finally got this cover. So next one is a book that I have no idea what it's about. Actually, well, technically I did. When I looked it up on Book Outlet, the synopsis that they had, or the summary that they had describing the book, pulled me in. I actually don't recall anything about that. I'm not even going to attempt to figure that out for you. But this is by Gillian Shields, and it's Immortal. And all I can say is I love the cover. It's really, if I'd seen this on the bookshelf at a bookstore, I would have picked it up and checked it out. The cover just appeals to you. Even the spine is appealing to me. And that's usually how I pick books. I either know what I like, so I either go for the authors I already know and see if they have anything new, and then I browse randomly up and down the bookshelves. I'll check out what's recommended, what's new, and then I literally browse. So usually it's either cover or spine or title of the book is what's going to pull me in and drag me over. And sometimes the graphic on the spine itself might drag me enough, or even the way it's designed will pull me in. If that appeals to me, I will then check the synopsis or flat cover summary. And if that pulls me in, I will then read the prologue or first chapter and see if it's intriguing enough. If it doesn't pull me in right away, I might take a snap of it on my camera and save it for another day to check out. Again, I love the cover. I know I liked how this was described on book outlets, so I know I was at least interested then. But once I finish reading it, I can tell you what I thought about it. So the next books are still in the box. All of these books are from authors I've never read before. So this was actually highly recommended on Book Outlet itself. It just kept popping up on the front page every single time I opened the site. And this is Stormdancer by Jave Kristoff. So I think what was one of the things that really appealed to me was what it's described by the New York Times, by Patrick Ruthless. What's that? You say you've got a Japanese steampunk novel with mystic creatures, civil unrest, a strong, feeble protagonist. I'm afraid I missed everything you said after Japanese steampunk. That's all I really needed to hear. And I agree with him. So aside from that, the cover design itself is really appealing. And then this is the first book in the Lotus War by J. Kristoff. And it's just, I don't know, this really popped up. The second book of the series has already been released. I already know it's on my wish list. It's going to be ordered next, from my next order from Book Outlet. But this just really looks really good. I already know I love fantasy, but I've never really read anything steampunk. Haven't really jumped into the genre for reading, at least. But I like mythology, I like mystic creatures, I like Japanese. So I thought this sounded pretty interesting, so I'm going to check it out. So the next one is, this is by Kelly Armstrong. I'm trying to remember the name of the other series that she's mostly known for. If they have it here. Okay, it's The Gathering. It's the Darkness Rising trilogy is what she's known for, which I didn't really like. But this is a new book. It's called Sea of Shadows by Kelly Armstrong. And I liked the hardcover design for this. I thought this was really appealing. Again, I really do like cover designs. As an artist, I like things that pop and are interesting. So let's see. Ashlyn closed her eyes and reached out to the spirits. After a moment, she could feel them pulling at the edge of her consciousness. It wasn't like the gentle plucks of the ancestral cirrus. These were harsh, like needle jabs. She repeated the words Ellen had taught her. I'm here to give you peace, she said. You want peace. No, they wanted revenge. So, this sounds like something I usually wouldn't read, or I wouldn't jump straight out originally when I first started reading. It sounds like Ghosts, and I've only read one other series of Ghost series, and that's by Meg Cabot, and that's The Mediator. And that was the only Ghost series I've ever read, and that one I really like. So I had to go check this out. I really liked how it was described. I loved the synopsis, and I loved the cover design for this. And I've heard really good things about Kelly Armstrong's from the Darkness Rising series, even though I couldn't get into it. I just kept getting recommended, so I thought I'd give this a try and see how I like that. And last but not least from the Book Outlet is Shadow Cry by Jenna Burtonshaw. I believe I said her last name correctly, Burtonshaw. And again, this is going to be about spirits and ghosts, if I remember correctly. On the front cover, I really do like the design. I love how this is embossed, so it pops out. Shadow Cry, and it says A Deadly Curse, an Ancient Secret. So I'm going to read I had an actual synopsis for this somewhere else, but I can't find it. And I'm not going to read the big one. But, yeah, go check this out. I already know I'm going to love this, just from what I've read online about it. So, yeah. So this is my, book outlet haul books. And I still have more to come. This is ridiculously long. So, let me put these away. And time to get, as I go off screen, the rest of the books. So this is a combination of books purchased both at Walmart and at Target. I unfortunately can't get to a Barnes & Noble's, so everything's online or at the few places I can take to. So the first one is, this is actually from Walmart, The Darkest Part of the Forest. So I already had this on my wish list. I've heard really good things from this. This is by Holly Black. And I wasn't planning on getting this, but it was the last one available, and I already knew it was on my wish list. And I was like, you know what? Let me go purchase this anyway. So I think I got this at 15% off, supposedly. I paid $15.30, originally priced at $18. So let's read the back. So children can have a cruel, absolute sense of justice. Children can kill monsters and feel quite proud of themselves. A girl can look at her brother and believe they're destined to be a knight and a bard who battle evil, who must someday find and fight even the monsters of the heart of the forest. So that's just the back. From the synopsis I read was, brother and sister have been going to the forest and have seen this kid in a glass coffin. And they've had this fantasy of protecting him, you know, they're knights. And then one day he wakes up and an evil awakens. That's just a really cheap, fast version of what I've heard the stories about, from what I've read of the summary online. So I already knew I was going to like this book, and I'm going to check it out. It sounds really intriguing. I know there's I think there's a second book for this out. I'm not quite sure, but looking for this. This is by Holly Black. I believe she's made another series. I'm checking out right now. I think the newest one that she's known for is The Coldest Girl in Cold Town series, is what she's known for. Alright, so the rest of the books I bought at Target, and this next one is, well, the next ones are both by the same author. So I actually bought an entire complete trilogy. This is Triel series by Amanda Hocking. It's a complete theory. This is the one. It has Switch, Torn, and Ascend. I don't always like buying 3 books in one like this, but I do occasionally cave for some young adult books. So let me read the synopsis. This is why I decided to check this out. When Wendy Everly was 6-year-old, her mother was convinced she was a monster and tried to kill her. 11 years later, Wendy discovered her mother might have been right. She's not the person she's always believed herself to be, and her whole life begins to unravel, all because of Finn Holmes. Finn is a mysterious guy who always seems to be watching her. Every encounter leaves her deeply shaken. It has more to do with her fierce attraction to him than she'll ever admit, but it isn't long before he reveals the truth. Wendy is a changeling who was switched at birth, and he has come to take her home. Now Wendy's about to journey to a magical world she never knew existed, where she'll tap into the power she never thought possible and discover who she's meant to become. So, yeah, that actually intrigued me enough. So I decided to check this out. So the reason I popped that one was because this is also by Amanda Hocking. And this is a new book in the series, and it's called Frostfire. So I like the cover design on this one. This is actually pretty cute and intriguing. There's actually a bunny on top of Frostfire. I'm not going to read the synopsis. This one jumped out to me. The main character seems to be a half-blood of some kind, so she hasn't fit in society. But she has a goal in mind. Her goal is to become a type of knight. And now she has to deal with someone who killed her father years ago. So there's a lot of intriguing things about this book. And it's already announcing the next 2 in the series. So I thought I'd give this a chance as well. So the last book I got, this is also from Target. This is by Victoria Aveyard, I believe it's called. And this is The Red Queen. The funny thing about this was in the catalog by Book Outlet, this was recommended. This is one of the books reviewed. And I saw this and I knew I had to buy it because it was already added to my wish list. Just from what I read from the catalog. So I'm just going to read the back to you. In school, we learn about the world before ours, about the angels and the gods that live in the sky, ruling the earth with kind and loving hands. Some say those are just stories, but I don't believe that. The God rules us still. They have come down from the stars, and they are no longer kind. So that's just the back. So that doesn't really tell us a lot from the book. From what I understand, the world is divided by 2, the reds and the silver. And the silvers have powers, and the main character is a red, and unfortunately she has powers. So now she's being drawn into a world she never thought she would ever have to deal with. So this is kind of like a caste system. So, there's going to be betrayal and all these other issues. So that intrigued me as well. I know I read more information when I read it in the catalog. So I know this was going to jump out to me. So that was my book haul. I'm so tired. This is a lot of books. So, I need to get these stacked up in the order that I'm going to read them. I have no idea what order it is. I might just grab one randomly and just sit down and start reading. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. So, thank you everyone for reading my book haul. And Dark and Dark out.